longevity. Welcome, Antoinette. Our next panelist is Kitawa Wemo Kiki. She's the founder of Mama Ventures, a serial entrepreneur who is championing change for sustainable development in artificial intelligence in Africa. She has driven the growth of the company from a management consultancy for startups and communities to the global recognized social impact venture builder that exists today, focused on responsible leadership and social impact for profit in Africa. Awarded as Young Iconic Female Leader in Social Change by the Women Economic Forum in recognition of her success and leadership in driving social and economic change in Africa. Welcome, Kiki. Right. Our next panelist is Starlyn Farah. She is the co-founder and COO of EcoDudu, which is a company leveraging on the biology of the insect life cycle to provide high-quality insect protein and organic fertilizer while recycling organic waste. Her 2 years of research has identified the black soldier fly as ideal insects with regards to their organic waste conversion rate, protein content, and environmental safety. Starlyn is a final year student pursuing Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery. She is currently working with Rockefeller Foundation in INSFeed, which is Insect for Feed, and ISIPE program in conjunction with ISIPE. Starlyn's greater purpose is to involve herself in initiatives that lead to happier and healthier people. So welcome, Starlyn. And finally, we have Winnie Akwoko. Winnie is a software entrepreneur and founder of, is it? Cute Books, yeah. I was going to say Cute Books, but yeah. I was going to say Cute Books. Maybe I'm just too arrogant. Okay. She runs an edtech startup called Cute Books, or cutebooks.com, that deals with personalization of children's books and content, carefully curated to help children learn about values, their environment, and other relevant subject matters. She has a background in business administration from Kenya Methodist University, as well as software entrepreneurship from MEST, based in Ghana. She's also a graduate of Tunapanda Institute. Winnie previously co-founded AnyTrack Limited, the company based in Ghana that deals with livestock tracking and identification. As an entrepreneur focused on economic and social impact, Winnie is very keen on understanding the use of data analysis in the education sector. Great, so welcome, Winnie. Welcome to you all. Really excited to have you all here. I'm a budding entrepreneur myself. Just most recently gotten out of a full-time job and stuff. This is really exciting for me, right? Okay, so I've already talked about your businesses and what you will do. So I'm not going to go into that. What I would like is maybe tell each. So this is for each one of you. So how many years old is your company? And where you all started somewhere, yeah? So tell me your initial challenge as a startup. So what was your initial? Was it support? Was it finance? Was it time? Were you doing everything on your own? What was your initial challenge, please?
Oh, well, for us, because it centered a lot about families and business, there was that fear of, okay, do people even want to talk about it? Because in Kenya, it's like state secret. People don't really openly identify their businesses as families.
Right. So people didn't want to talk about that this is a family-run business.
So we wondered if anybody would join.
Okay.
And be willing to say that it's a family business. A lot of the times people think, when I work, I want to go and work with Safari. They don't want to work in Jokamau,
Yeah.
So there's that perception that there's a negative perception of family businesses, and so it was that. Is this something that people would really
Yes.
be interested in?
Okay, so how did you overcome that?
Well, okay, so myself and my co-founders are people you have to, our family motto is you have to try. So we were like, let's give it a try. You never know unless you try.
Right.
Yeah, so we did of course we did a little bit of talking to people who are in the family business space and asking them, is this something that you would like to do?
Yeah.
And
So
just with a small
research.
group of friends who we know in the space.
Yeah.
So the response was positive and we went all in.
Fantastic. Great, thank you. Kiki?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, so I started my business in 2016, and this was barely enough work experience because I worked in the non-profit space as an out-of-college job. And I think being in that space made me feel like I could do more because the pay was great, but I didn't feel fulfilled. And this was just fresh out of college. And most people, you're making, a decent salary and barely doing anything. That's how I felt. And also just interacting with the community at that point made me feel, okay, I could do more. And this is my entire life ahead of me. I have to do something that I love. And so I think initially starting the company was a disappointment for my family because one, I quit med school to do something else. And then I quit a good job to start a business in a space that absolutely has no money. So yeah, the biggest challenge was trying to demystify being the family disappointment. And then 3 years later, now they're just like, oh my God, we always believed in you.
So you feel like despite the family was not there to support you, you still like sort of...
I think I wouldn't really call it not looking to support. I think it's just failure to understand what this entrepreneurship thing is. And it's also just for people who are looking to start, just to try and separate that lack of understanding from people who are coming from very conventional, traditional.
Because they think that going into like work, tarmacking, getting into a work is like what the main thing is.
Exactly. You really need to go through this panel meeting of education and you have to, starve and knock doors and carry the file and then they're just like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? So I think it's just trying to, re-educate.
So what did you have? Did you have loads of conversations? How did you overcome this challenge with them?
So
because I think a lot of people here have that sort of issue, isn't it, with their families, trying to explain to them, it's okay having business.
I think, partly it's just with time there's been a lot of information around what entrepreneurship is. But also it's just a deep belief within yourself. If you're running a business, you need to really just do it no matter what. It doesn't matter who's, shouting at your head, but also taking feedback is great. So you should be open and willing to learn, but also, be strong and tenacious enough to say, this is what I'm doing. So I think for me it was just like, this is what I'm doing. I'm passionate about this. I can't live my life doing something I'm not passionate about. And that for me was a bigger, I would rather starve at that beginning or just be disowned than do something I hate. So that was for me.
So can I just put you as stubborn?
I'm very stubborn.
Yeah?
Yes. You have to be.
When we started the event yesterday, we went through the positive characters of a woman. And then so someone was like, can I put stubborn? And I said, absolutely. So it could be negative, but it's positive because of how it drives you. Okay, great. Thank you. Starlyn.
Good evening, everyone. My business, our business, was started in 2016. The biggest challenge that we faced is something that me and my colleague call the ooh factor. We named it that because you see we're dealing with insects, and then the biggest question was who's going to buy these insects, Even when you're trying to go put it in someone's face, tell them all the benefits that they have, and then everybody's like, ooh. But we managed to get one farmer who was willing to try, and then they really were the benchmark for us. And we got a lot more customers based on that. And well, that was on the business aspect. For my own personal challenge is, how do I balance medicine and business?
How do you do that?
Medicine is a headache on its own.
Yeah.
Sleepless nights, 2-3 hours sleep if you're lucky. I would say is how to overcome it is really just finding the balance, splitting your time. Say I'll study for 4 hours if I'm lucky.
And you're studying, so you're studying and you started the business, right? How did your parents take this? How did your community take this? Because I know there's that bigger picture in there as well.
As Kiki said, really my parents are like, you're doing medicine, you're about to become a doctor, so
Yes.
what is this? Insects, people, where does that even, connect? And I was like, my father told me from a young age, I've always been, not the type really to listen to what people say. I just go for it. Yes.
Was that the word you used?
I've always had this character where I don't care what everybody says. I just do what I want, no matter how difficult it is. And I would say business is difficult, especially when you start it. The startup period is the toughest. And once you get it up and running, things get easier. And
So hang in there.
yes,
Hang in there.
just hang in there.
That's a message for everyone. Hang in there. All right then.
It gets better.
Okay. Really? You need to get closer.
So around November last year, I was talking to my son over WhatsApp. I was in Ghana, and then he mentioned something, and I was like, okay, I wish I was there so that I could teach him what I wanted him to know at that particular point. So what happened next was I wrote a book, and I decided that, okay, instead of gifting him the normal gifts, I'm gonna put whatever I want in the book, and then put his picture, put his name on it, all the values that I wanted him to nurture, and then I went ahead, did the characters, the character design, all the content, had someone help me with the book illustration and everything, and then I decided, okay, when I was doing the printing, someone saw the book, a lady, and then she was like, okay, I want this for my daughter too. And then what happened next is that in a span of 2 weeks, I have 23 orders for my book.
Wow.
I wasn't planning to sell that and use in Ghana. At that point, I was having challenges with my previous company, being the CEO, and okay, I decided, okay, I'm gonna tell the team that I'm going to lower my position a bit and then start on something. So when I came back to Kenya, I presented the book to my son, he loved it, and then all of a sudden a kid who was just coming to see my son was like, oh, she started crying, and before I know it, I knew it. The dad was like, take this money, please, I want this book. And so from there, that's how QuickBooks actually came. So these are 4 months into that. So to answer your question quickly, one of the challenges that I've had is saying no to job opportunities. Because when I came, when I came to Kenya, I was like, okay, let me see how things go. And then from there, friends now started, okay, because they've known me, I got good network. So someone is saying, okay, Pete Baker, you always wanted this job for a long time. Can you come and work with us? And I'm like, no, I'm going to do a 3 months full sprint on my business, no distraction, and grow this. So my company is 4 months old, and that's one of the challenges that happen.
Fantastic. That's really good. I love the story. Thank you. Actually, it's really good to know the background of this. and that's a really good, space to be at. I mean, when you're coming up with your brand, with your story, people knowing how that came up is also as interesting as just what the product is as well. So thank you for sharing. So again, this is a question for everyone. I think maybe Vicky will hold on to this one, but if you can answer it, it's okay. When was your turnaround moment? Like when your company became self-sustaining, and what did you need to do to get there? So like, for example, getting staff on board, because everyone's a DIY, right? When you get into business, it's like, I'll do everything, right? So maybe that, delegating, getting external funding, your negative self-talk, because there's a lot of that happening as you're starting out, So what was your turnaround moment for your company to get self-sustaining?
Okay.
Do you want to answer it, or? Okay.
I could. Okay, so the turnaround point for me, I think I would say, I'm lucky or rather fortunate that with my book there is that instant utility I can buy to pay for it, right? It means that if I'm looking for, let's say, investment at this moment, I'm looking to scale the business, right? Because at the moment I'm actually in that process whereby I need to solidify the tech side of it so that people who are
Because the production cost would be really high, right?
Yes.
You're just doing it one name and a go
Yes.
for each book.
Yes.
As opposed to like when you're doing it a little bit more in bulk. It's like when Coke did so many names or something like that. So I'm really not comparing it like that, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how your scalability would be.
So the scalability point of view would be like, so at the moment, for example, I had like 2 people who are ordering from Uganda. I have also customers who are ordering from Ghana, right? But then it means that I have to sort out the logistics.
Right.
That is it, right? But also to make it easier for them to be able to order directly from the website,
Right.
which means like building a solving software
Yeah.
that they can be able to do that.
So you're in the process.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. That's fine. Thank you.
I would say the turnaround point for us was when we realized, like that moment, that we don't really need to make a complete fee for our case, which we were doing, the compounded fee, but we saw that, like you said, the production cost would be too high.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, nobody's really doing insect protein at the moment, so why not, do that? So we sort of pivoted from making the compounded feed to just focusing on rearing our insects.
Wow. Okay. And so that made a difference.
Yes.
So then you get more orders because now you're specializing.
Yeah.
So when your turnaround was when you realized and decided that that's it, you need to specialize and that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah. So now we can be able to satisfy more orders than we initially could before.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
So the turnaround moment for Mama had to start from within, I think. Because when you're getting into business and you have an idea, I think women are very disadvantaged because we overthink our great ideas. Men are just like, I'm just going to do this and I will go. And then as for then kids, husband, school, I don't know. And then so we have this habit of like dipping our toes in the water, and then before you know it, it's been 3 years and you haven't really moved. And you're sort of all over the place. So for me, it was coming from a point of realizing that there are certain things that I need to do, and my idea is actually good, and my business is actually viable. I have tried, tested it, and seeing that there is a need to support businesses in the operations, because this is some of the stuff that I struggled with when I was starting. I mean, starting in 2016 meant that I spent about 2 years before that just swimming around and trying to figure it out. So it had to come from a point of, okay, what more, do I need another sign, like 6 rainbows in the sky to say that this is a good idea? It was just, there's a need for it, and it's just, I need to do it. So that was a turnaround moment, and so for me it had to.
So would you say it's self-sustaining, your business at the moment?
Yes, it is self-sustaining, and one of the reasons why it is not being scared to price some of my solutions at a premium. If I didn't think that I needed to, price one of my solutions at a premium, then I'd still be balancing and trying to figure out where to cut costs or resources or people. So it was more of, this thing is a natural need, this is our unicorn, and we're going to do it. And so it was just, that made it self-sustaining, but also it had to come from a point of trying, saying, I have to do it this way. And I guess as entrepreneurs, not only female, but generally,
Yeah.
we have the habit of maybe undercutting some of the things that we do.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, I'm just a small business, so we just charge below the market price.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a great business, you have a great idea, product, service, do it, and you will
Yeah.
find
And I
it.
think it's a more of a cultural thing as well at the moment, right? So whether you're female or male, you will undercut so that you can get that business, and you don't actually charge the man hours you're really putting in, isn't it? Yeah. In fact, I actually had that question. I was like, okay, so do you, maybe as a woman, do you lower your cost to get the business, for example? Is that a possibility, or is that something that people do? But I'm glad to hear it. But when you go out there and so just to sort of jumping into that, and when you charge the customer and say, okay, this is the amount, what is some of the reactions that you get? And do you get a lot of positive, or is it a lot of negative and then one positive? How does that work for you?
So essentially for me with my product, which is a global product, it has been more, I believe with every product when you price it as a business you need to understand who you're selling it to.
Yeah.
So for the local market it's always oof, and then that's
Is it just startups that you're going for, or do you go
So
for...
this is more of a curated professional placement experience, but it's very need basis, based on different companies and individuals who need this experience. There's a whole pipeline around it. But so
there's a
my
lot of startups.
yes, so startups are the beneficiaries of the program. They are
Okay.
not the clients
Okay.
for the program. It's
Okay.
more individuals and companies that are paying for the service, bigger companies. So in the context of the market that I sell it, then someone like, you're undercharging. So then I'm like, then should I push it? But because the price that we've set it at, which is $1,500 per person for 3 weeks, then it covers the overheads for the business. So I feel like I don't need to push it, but I could. So, but generally speaking, because I build startups, and that's some of the challenges that come in pricing is if you don't know who you're selling to, then you'll get the negative feedback. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you need to push the price so high to look exclusive. Your product also needs to match the price. So there's a whole dynamic around pricing and markets and how people take it. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, understood. Antoinette.
I'd say for us, we went in with a go big or die attitude. And so in our first year, we decided to do a conference because we thought that would be the best way to tell people about what we are. So I remember when we were organizing for the conference, we were like, let's take 30 people in this room in the hotel and make it one day and pray that 30 people show up and that we break even, we don't go at a loss.
Yeah.
We're able to pay for everything, and we price it great and everyone will come.
Yeah.
And so I remember typical Kenyan behavior the night before the conference. And so our thing was literally a one-man show, you're everything, you're the marketer.
Yeah, of course.
So my thing is just blowing off and beeping and beeping and beeping, and I'm like, where were all these people?
Yeah.
1 week ago.
Last Minute Kenyans, right?
Yeah, so we
Should be
had,
lastminutekenyans.com.
we had 92 people show up.
Not what?
92 people show up.
92 people.
Yeah, so
From
it
the
was crazy.
30 people that you
And
wanted.
we were not yet
And then
prepared.
overnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just one of those things that it was good affirmation tribe, because I remember when we said we were going to do a conference, people were like, you're too young, nobody knows you, why are you doing it? And then also, as a woman, talking to most family-owned businesses are male dominated, and so even just the topics that we were choosing were some sensitive topics, especially in our culture.
Right.
So there was a lot of that. We talked about stuff like wills and trusts. we talked about the secrets and like addiction in family businesses.
Yeah.
So there was already like you guys are being very ambitious, and then it's a woman telling me about this conference, they need some money, then I would go in and wonder if like telling I need Nation to give me sponsorship, will they listen to me? They don't even know me.
These are some of the things that were going on in your head.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
So it's self-doubt and stuff, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of that thing because you're a woman, people won't listen to you.
But then they
Who are
did.
you? Yeah, like not knowing your family business.
Yeah.
Just as long as you're telling them things that touch on their pain points, people actually listen
Yeah.
and show up.
Yeah. So because you're catering for what they need, right? So whether you feel like you're adequate or not in what they want, but they wanted this, right? Okay, that's really good. I love that. One of the things that you guys said was balancing, right? So that's a big thing, especially for like the women here. So the men generally like just, go to work, come back and have a meal in the house and, everything is just sort of done. But the culture in Kenya is such that women do a lot, right? So we're wives, daughters, granddaughters, we're all of these things. We're friends, we're all of this stuff. How do you guys juggle between this personal and work life? And where do you say where do you say you are at with the struggle? Where are you at with the struggle?
I think for me I have a strict rule because before I got into what I'm doing, I was formerly employed.
Yeah.
And my work was very taxing. So one of the reasons I got out of the corporate was because of the toll it was taking on me, on my health. So I'm very clear about separating work and play. And so when I'm in, and unfortunately when you're self-employed,
Yeah.
it's very gray. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
look at the rain and there's a person who you really need and it's 9 o'clock. So it's just learning how to work in the gray and having those, so people know that people who know 8 to 5 is my time when I go home, it's my family time. And only call me when it's very important.
Yeah, so
So
people
sticking
know
to
that,
it,
yeah?
sticking to, even suppliers know. So it's just something you have to, if it's going to be your position, kind of have to
You
take it.
create those boundaries from the start?
Yeah, and
Is that
let
what
them
you-
understand. Don't
Yeah.
just think, I don't take calls after 5, and like, listen, you know how I respect you, you have a family, you always put
Yeah.
and see where you're
Yes,
You
right.
have a wife, yeah. You have a young kid, yeah. Especially like if it's a man.
Yeah.
Your wife needs you, your kid needs you.
Yeah.
So it's if they kind of buy into it even for themselves.
Right.
So just having that consistent so they know on the weekends, unless it's an emergency, I'll call and I should pick.
Yeah.
And if it's you're calling me to tell me that you want my printout for whatever it is will be late and it's Monday, you know those things,
Yeah.
then I'll
Those
give
also have to-
I'll
yes.
chop your head off for it. And I just now position.
Does it happen often though, because you're in business? Or was it happening more often when you were in employment?
So now it's still, because of, things have changed a lot because of technology, so there's no clear line as to when. If someone sends you a WhatsApp message and it's work related and you open it and
And if you don't reply,
I saw it was too
that's
brutal.
2 ticks.
Yeah, so there's that, yeah, I mean, you just have to keep, people know, you just have to keep saying it, you have to respect, and respect, if you treat them the same way, you also don't call them at 9 o'clock
Yeah.
and expect, I want my books and it's a mistake, then you get the same treatment back.
Back, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have to drill that, isn't it?
It is, and of course, a lot of times
It's-
people
yeah.
have some negative, they'll say, oh, you know, mama, she's moody. But I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's
But then because you're providing a need, they know that, like for example, you are going to deliver. So if you have that as your service, like sort of service delivery, whether it's, you said you have a deadline by a certain time, you keep it, then they know that, even if she doesn't take it at 9 o'clock at night, she will make sure that she delivers on time on what her promise was.
And then it also runs on how we run the association. So like,
Yes.
for example, now people know in that conference, it reached a point I had to start reversing M-Pesa transactions because the reality is I couldn't, the hotel I had already closed
Right.
the hotel, I had things I was giving away, and so there's also for your brand, what you're saying, what you want to be known for.
Yes.
So we had made X number of stuff for people and we
Yeah.
want to take people's money.
Yeah.
And then this one has a Karatasi brand notebook and this one has a branded notebook with all the themes, everything was. So, you know, when we started discussing, now people know we closed, we locked down our events for this day,
Yeah.
and you will come and you will get a quality event, and this is the standard.
But that's over time, isn't it?
Well, it's with like
Yeah.
Kenyans, it just depends on what you set, the goal
Yeah.
that you set
Yeah.
for your business. Because we are only 4 years old.
Yeah.
But people know, pay on time or you can turn it back, and you will get quality. If our event is highly priced, you will get value for the price that you're
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Actually, for Kitawa, what I wanted to add over there as well is. So I don't know whether this is. I'm just going to throw this out there. Do you think that women in business should not think about getting married or growing families? No, because I know it's a strong thing, but there's a lot of men or women out there. They feel, or there's a thing where if you go into business and you really want to like thrive or really grow your business, then you're like, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not seeing any man. Okay, please don't look at me. I'm done. You know, children, excuse me. You know, I'm doing business and this is it. So, you know, what do you think? What is your take on this? Maybe just, you know, sort of blend it in. Yeah.
Okay, so I think with work-life balance, I don't believe it exists. I think that's just.
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. I think you will never find a perfect balance where these things exist. But you have, because when I started, I had to just go Google what do entrepreneurs do, and then I find all this, you know, articles about Steve Jobs not sleeping, waking up at God knows what time, and you know, then your culture of entrepreneurship is coming from Silicon Valley where people have to just sit with their laptops. And so I was that person, and I'd wake up at 4 and then go to a coffee lounge and just, you know, sit there and really not do anything. And just like look like I am savvy and busy.
Yeah.
You know, but at some point I just
Show like you're busy, but
show
you're not
that I'm
right.
busy and
You
then
could be on Facebook.
yeah, it could be Facebook, but you know, productively Facebook.
Productive on Facebook.
I mean that, or just checking emails, or just, you know, looking like I am busy.
Yeah.
But so for me, I had to come from a point of, okay, just thinking, am I really doing anything for the business? So then I had to separate and say there's a difference between being busy and being productive. So instead of having 10 things on my list, I'd have 2 things on my list. And then I started feeling that I was checking things off my list. And then also I realized I wasted a lot of time in meetings with people that I didn't need.
Right.
Because I needed them to validate what I was doing. So I felt like that's also something I can share. The work-life balance. You're stuck in Java and meeting and meeting and meeting.
Yeah.
And so many business cards. I think it's like a whole
Yeah.
wall of fame of business cards of who you know. I
This
met
room
this.
wouldn't be enough for you.
Exactly. So it really comes from a place of thinking, are you being productive or are you being busy? So now it comes to a point where I'm just like, if I need to go to gigs and that's still going, I will go and have a great time.
Yeah.
You know? Still be able to focus and sleep. You know, for me it's really about a balance and understanding what I need to achieve as a business and creating that metric. But also being able to communicate to the people that you work with on what they need to clearly achieve for the business.
Okay, so your social media staff or your team need to know what is the end goal, for example.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
And
that-
make it clear.
Exactly. And yeah, so that's how for me that has played out. And to answer your question, I don't know, I'm very confused. I mean, it is, those are conversations that I've had with many women in business who feel, you know, let me just focus on my business and maybe marriage and kids is not a thing. I don't think it's an entrepreneurship thing per se. I think it could be a personal decision that is brought into, you know, face by the process of entrepreneurship. But that being said, I don't know. I really don't know because I haven't really thought that it's a factor. I think it has to start with yourself and what you seek to achieve. And sometimes, I don't want to say Kenyan men or what men, sometimes it can be a crutch for your process because maybe you would choose to not go through the conventional way of get married, have kids, and live happily ever after. I think times have changed, and it's come to a point where there's women considering choosing to build their businesses to have enough financial capital and stability to then raise families.
Right.
And what they need is a supportive man. So the conversations I've had with women in business who are running companies, it's more of, I'm okay even if the guy is not making millions, I need him to be supportive. And if he's not, then I will build my company, and that's a non-issue.
Yeah. So what I'm actually hearing also is it's a personal choice whether, so if you believe that you want to start a family and still run a business, it's okay. And if you don't want that as well, if it's not now or later, it's okay as well. Yeah, but it's a personal choice. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and then it's just like what's guiding this decision? Is it entrepreneurship? Is it the fact that people are not supportive? Is it the fact that men are getting more comfortable, and so you're feeling, okay, maybe I need to...
It is true.
Yeah.
We've heard those cases.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, for me, it's like how many single moms are out there in Kenya, forget anywhere else, but single mothers, and they're struggling between taking care of their children and, sort of building their businesses and making them stable. Yeah. Okay, great.
I think maybe I'll start with the latter question.
Yeah, sure.
So women in business and having families and stuff, this is a social construct of the African community.
Yeah.
At a certain age, you're expected to get married and almost immediately, start popping out kids.
Kids, yes. The more the merrier.
I come from, I'm Somali, I come from the Somali community, and we are known for, 9, 10, 11 children, children.
Yeah.
The bigger the family, the better.
Yeah.
And personally, I believe that, women are amazing people. What you set your mind to, you really can achieve it. I mean, things are really tough out there, but how many women are having families and, running successful businesses? So if you put your mind to it, I mean, what can't you achieve? This also goes with men,
Yeah.
You want families and run businesses? Do it.
Yeah.
It's just going to be hard, but who cares, right?
Yeah.
Try.
No, it's fine. It's okay. No problem. I think we'll go to the next question, yeah? So I'm going to ask Willie this. We're all told networking helps.
Sorry?
Networking?
Yeah.
We're all told, yeah? When you're going into business or you're doing whatever you are.
Yeah.
Networking helps.
Yes.
Yeah, so in your opinion, does it? And maybe give us an example if it did help your business and how.
I think we are living in a world of networking. You can't just do away with it. Like, everything is about knowing, especially if you're in Kenya or Africa in general. Like, you have to know someone who knows something, because we can't be everything, right?
Yeah.
And this goes with everything that we do, like the people you surround yourself with, the kind of women you associate with, if it's in business, for example. I think looking in terms of like creating, I call it like a support system,
Right.
kind of, right? So whether it's through your partner, whether it's through like the other people you associate with in work, I think networking is very, very important, because it's the same thing that opens doors for you. You can't just live isolated. I'm here because of someone who knows me, who knows Eunice. You see, that kind of network. You get otherwise I wouldn't have known about this event
At all, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say your networks would be like? I mean, like how close or how far do you think your networks? Because I know, like, obviously your friends and your family are one part of it, and who they know, all right? In business, how else would you say your networks would be?
So first of all, I choose my friends very carefully, because if you're a founder, or rather if you're an entrepreneur, you need a close knit of friends who are doing the same thing. Otherwise, you'll be stuck, or you'll be depressed in case of anything that you can't solve alone. So I do have, let's say, a network of other female entrepreneurs, and not just entrepreneurs per se, right? So my background is also, besides business, it's also in tech, software development. So I do have friends who are techies. We have WhatsApp groups where we discuss all tech-related activities, and some of these women are also founders. So when I'm having an issue, for example, that needs an founding mind, I would post it there. Those are the people that I go to, right? And it goes with all other things that I'm doing, like different, you group your friends or you group your networks differently.
Where is the craziest place that you got like business from, for example? Like I want to see how far reach the network is, and I want to like sort of give them hope, if you will. People budding in business want to know like how far reach would your network have gone where you got business from?
Okay, so one time I'm in an Uber, and then we are just driving, and it was raining. I'm coming from Yaya all the way to what is this place? Yeah.
Junction?
No.
Valley of Gate?
Yeah, so I went to a psychology network, but I believe that when you are running a business, you're also a salesperson.
24/7?
24/7, right? That's how, you are, right? Yeah. So I wouldn't say like it was network per se, but then we just started talking with this Uber guy, and then I realized that he was also actually looking for a textbook center, and that to buy a book for his child. And then we just started talking, and I realized, oh, he has 3 kids. When I sold my book, right? The next time, within 2 weeks, he's connected me to other different people.
Wow.
So I would say that's crazy, but
That is
not really crazy.
no, but that's quite crazy because it is. I mean, somebody you don't even know.
Yeah.
It wasn't something somebody threw someone.
Yeah.
It was something that you do as like a day-to-day thing. You're in an Uber, you're going somewhere in transport, for example. Yeah. So that's actually a good example. Tawa, can you give us an example?
Well, essentially, I'm just thinking when it comes to networking and answering that question first, it's just I feel entrepreneurs need to be more deliberate when we are networking. Sometimes networking is about listening to know what's going on. You also don't want to look like you're done feeling, that you're just selling. It could also be that you want to, you don't want to spam people then, because then you look desperate.
Yeah.
So then, that's my thought on networking.
Okay. Be deliberate.
Be very deliberate and listen. Don't spam, and have a conversation, especially when we're meeting investors. I feel this, you're like, oh my goodness, money is in the room. I need to sell. Like this guy, sometimes they just want to tell you, that they have families, or that one time they had a really bad experience in a hotel. They are people first, then investors, and that personal engagement when you network goes a very long way, because then you can have business with them, through a personal space. So I also believe that networking is very personal, and so you can create that. So the craziest place I've ever closed business is in walking through Karura.
Okay.
Yes.
You went there for like.
It was sort of like just a reflective meditation thing.
Okay.
And I met somebody who's just arrived in Kenya a day before that, and we just struck a conversation and became friends. And she's one of my biggest business partners. And every time there's someone in town who needs, she'll always think of me. So that has been the craziest place, Karura, on a rainy Wednesday.
That's amazing. And sometimes I feel like as if there's something going in the back of your mind, like you want a solution to something and you're like intending for it, and it comes out from nowhere. I don't know if everyone has had that experience, where you've got something that you want. Maybe it's funding for your business, you've got a great idea or something like that, and all you're focusing on is I want a good investor, I want a good investor, I want a good investor. and then all of a sudden, from nowhere, you either get a call or you're given some link or some idea, So always keep that open mind. I think that's what I like about that. Yeah, keep an open mind. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next question. I remember when I was at Kingsway, and I was a marketing manager over there. I was one of the only female managers in that boardroom, And so there's lots of male boardrooms going around and stuff, right? So if you come up with a point, they would be like, yeah, okay, so we were saying, before they listened to me, I had to say that several times and several meetings later, and they're like, okay, all right then, let's help you do something, So it's like they probably don't take me seriously, or I don't know what it was, right? So when I was, last year, I was like managing a startup, it was a men's grooming salon at Village Market, and the directors there were a little bit more open, sort of thing. However, I had the same issue, where I'm like, I know this is going to be really good for the business. It's targeted marketing. You guys are on, you're new. You want more business coming in immediately. Listen to me. Let's do this. This is the plan. This is whatever. So you've actually done everything per, And then they're like, some way or somehow they find a way of saying, yeah, no. Maybe later, I don't know. Is it like, so do you find that in your space and in your experience that you have this, whether it's a male counterpart within the business or a supplier or an investor or somebody who's male dominating, the male out there, and you find you're the only woman in there, and have you had an experience like that? And what would you do? And, just tell us.
So I'll pick it up from there. I think for me, you said it, and I'm just having all the bad memories that I've had of such situations. And it can be annoying. But I think that's part of the reality that we live in as women, and we need to own it. But I feel, in my case, let me speak for me, I think, because that happened. One, I think I take a lot of poor stereotypes in the business world. So I have dreadlocks, I have tattoos. What else? I'm a woman, I'm African, I'm under 30. So those are a few stereotypes that I have to deal with every time I'm walking into a room. I'm going to pitch to an investor, like, should I wear a long sleeve? Should I tie my hair in a particular way? But I realized by second guessing and really thinking about things that other people have a problem with, then I will never move, I will never focus on my business. So I realized as women, we conformed into a world of men, of blacks, grays, whites, blues. As I feel like that's a man's world.
There's a difference.
Yes. And then when you get into that space, what do you do as a woman? You go buy suits and you already start conforming into this very stiff world. So for me, what has really, really worked for me is one, I just wear my reds. If I'm going to a meeting, I'll wear my red lipstick. I'll just do it. Because then in that world you're told, don't wear red. I'm like, why? It's distracting. I'm like, okay, you have to, that's your problem and you have to deal with it. But I feel great when I'm wearing red hair. So I feel like for women it has to be very deliberate, and you have to, your personality, your aura, your confidence is what one sells for you. And I've noticed in some pictures, I wear my red, sometimes I don't even listen. I'm sorry man, this is the playbook for girls. I don't even listen, they're just like, and then they're like, oh, yeah, great.
Here's the money.
But, I'm not saying that we should position ourselves like that. Just use your strengths to close in this world that we have. So, it happens all the time. Yeah.
Strengths as in, as a personality, strengths as, because it can be misconstrued.
Oh, yeah.
Strengths as, you're so sexy and then you just walk in and, I just have to look pretty and then I'll get the money. What is it? As in,
I think one, whether you're a man or woman, you need to be very well versed in what you're selling, the business that you're running. You need to research, you need to be intentional about it. So you need to be very relevant to what is going on in the world. You don't just get a pass because you're prettier or you have red hair. It does not change anything. So it really starts with how aware are you about the product that you're building, the market that you're going into, what are you looking for. So be very intentional about the space that you're getting into. But I'm saying just use your strengths as your personality, colors that work for you. Be you, because that shows as a maybe more for women. Men could be going through the hardest thing in the world, but you'd never know. But for us, it's just like you will probably enter a room and begin making excuses for certain things. So I feel for me, it's just take it, but also before you take it, you need to really do your research and be as smart as the next person in the room. If you're in tech because you're good at what you do, not because they need to have a woman in their portfolio to show that we have women in tech. So that's it.
I think for Winnie, I wanted to ask you because Winnie, sorry, I apologize. Antoinette, are there more female-run family businesses or male-run family businesses? Does this occur when you're going to approach them? This whole male domination sort of thing.
Well, typically it's more male dominated, but what we're coming to see now is that they've had to deal with issues around succession where maybe you find the founder is a man, but the heir apparent might not be the male heir. So there's a lot of that changing of founder males looking at saying, okay, traditionally my firstborn son is the one who is going to take, and maybe the firstborn son is not interested at all in being in the business, or maybe the firstborn son is not the most appropriate person to be the heir, maybe they can fill it in a different capacity. So there's a lot of, or maybe I only have girls. So then what next? So there's a lot of now looking at the gender differently.
I'm surprised actually.
And then there's
because in this male, sort of dominated, even family businesses, like, well, my son will, I'm quite very pleasantly surprised actually.
Yes, so you'll find there's a lot of women, I think of a lot of our members where you'll find that the chair, the lady, the board chair is actually a lady, so you find that's coming up a lot. And then you even find people starting businesses as siblings, sisters. There is auntie, I think remember who's an aunt and a niece, and it's the niece who started the business, and the aunt brought into the business. So there's a lot of disruptive, even in the family business space.
So you are finding more female.
There's a lot of recognition. There's females in male-dominated industries who are actually being given. There's garage owners who are female.
That's amazing.
There is construction and people in the construction industry who are women. So there's a lot of disruption happening. And then what they have to deal with is now your market is male. So now getting past that, okay, because I'm a man, a woman, and I'm asking for a ladder to climb on the roof to look at this, and the guy is refusing and telling her, no, you don't, just tell me what, and I can't make an assessment without going up. So there's a lot of that changing, which is a good sign now, as opposed to how it was before, where it wasn't even considered, or even people writing wills and leaving things to be a female, not only a male, because it's my child, and not because tradition. So.
Okay. This one goes to Starlin. To start off with, we say we the company, and then I the person, right? And a lot of times when we've achieved something, and you know that you've done something, but we say we did X and not I did, as in you're not owning it. Does this happen for you? Or is there spaces where you are actually like, no, I did this? I'm not saying you not acknowledge that the team helped you out and stuff, but then just owning that this is what your accomplishment is. Or do you have a lot of we? And this is because this is I think it's a female thing quite a lot as well, because we're that protective, sort of person, whether we're mothers or not, or, that's there. So.
I don't really think there's a time when I said, I did this, or I accomplished this. Usually it's just we, because most of the time I acknowledge that most of the times I do get help from my team, but especially if matters science or biology behind the process, it's usually just me. I always just say we.
So who's the one who came up with the biology of the black larva fly?
I did.
Is this the first time you're saying that I did?
I would say yes. But I also acknowledge that there is no business without my co-founder
Of
because
course.
I usually just handle the,
Operations.
the biological aspect, the operations in the rearing facility, and let my colleague handle the business aspect, I would say. But then again, it's really a gray area. You can't really say I did this, or he did that, or we did that. So usually it's just we, to be safe, I would say.
Okay, I mean, like, I suppose when you're going to pitch for a business, you want to say, we did this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But in a space where you are acknowledged for something, would you like say, no, I did, sort of did this. As in, what I'm trying to say is, like, women, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, any one of you, right, that we always say, oh, we did, but it's never, yes, I did this, and my team and I achieved this.
I haven't really had the opportunity to do that
Yeah.
because being in the agricultural space, I'd say most of it is dominated by the males. So I've had a couple of times when I would try to explain the science behind Ekodulu, but the farmers would just look at me like, you're a lady one, you're young, you're African, so what do you know?
What do you know?
Yeah, so I've had times when I had to step back and let my male co-founder handle that.
Right.
So I think it's safer for me in my space
So the
to
bigger
just say,
picture of the company.
yes, yeah, and it's all for the greater good. So let's
Yeah.
just say we,
Yeah. Okay, I understand, and especially because, a lot of farmers are the rural area. They think in a certain way, the cultural, the really deep-rooted culture in the African culture sort of thing, right?
I would say like in the space that I'm working in, you don't really find many you do find female farmers, but usually smallholder farmers. But when you're dealing with large clients, majority of them are headed by males, if not actually operated by the males. The females or their wives and daughters will just come in
Right.
as support.
So very
staff.
few female farmers?
Not really, but the people who handle, the purchases, and
Yes.
usually it's the males.
Is it like a
Yes,
male?
the guys,
It's like a male role, like sales. Sales is such a male thing, and in a company you're looking for a
Yes.
man to. But it's not true, is it? Is it true that only men are really good at sales?
No.
It may not be sales, it's the decision maker.
Yes.
No, no, no.
Yes,
Just
just
not-
to control
Yeah,
money.
it's
Okay.
the decision maker.
Yes.
Women, if you go to rural part of this country, it's women who farm.
Yeah.
But the decision maker on how that money should be spent is the man.
Yes, we've had a lot of challenges working around that.
Okay.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a cultural thing, I think, right now, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's for me, like, this is mind-boggling, right? That you have the capability as a woman. You have the know-how. You have all the expertise, even better than your male counterpart. You know all this information. However, the person receiving it on the other end has a completely different way of looking at you. You're a woman, shut up. As in, like, we do have those things happening. It's controversial. It's maybe not acceptable, but I think in Kenya we have a long way to go. I mean, I was going through some numbers. Kenya ranks 97th out of 129 in the gender index.
So by folding, are we supporting ourselves by moving up that index? Or the reason I ask is because one of the reasons I started the business is on a gender line.
Yeah.
In a non-profit, going to Kajiado and trying to lead initiatives, and literally, I don't know, I have a massage in the room, but we went to a remote place in the middle of Masai, and I stood to speak about things I know, something that I built, And they turned literally like just like faced away. Some of them were spitting, some of them stood up and left. And 8-year-old women was sitting on the ground. I was just like, I was shocked. And I realized that I was living in a box of, we've reached a level where women and men can sit in the same